Good morning, YouTube, and welcome to a very special edition of Fantasy Forecast. This video is going to be all about how to bankroll manage. I had a losing night last night. I'm going to go ahead and go through my history of entries here and show you a lineup spread that I did for one lineup, okay? And then beyond that one lineup, I'm going to show you how I'm going to enter for today's contest as well. Now, I'm going to caveat with this. Pros play multi-entry games. A multi-entry game means you can enter that contest more than once. The typical one is usually the one that wins you the biggest prize. On Fanduel, let's say it's winning $50,000 on the NBA. On football, it's $100,000 to first or something like that. On DraftKings, it's the Millionaire Maker. Those are GPP contests. GPP stands for Guaranteed Prize Pool. It means a tournament entry. And this is where most people end up losing their money on Fanduel and on DraftKings. The commercials are great. They tell you you can win $1 million, and then you go in and you deposit $25 and you start, and then your $25 vanishes because you spent it all on one $25 tournament entry. Not even realizing there was something called cash games you could play that had a lower return, but a lot higher odds of winning. Let's move into it. So we're going to go into my history. And you can see my scores here. I've backed out of the screen just a touch, but you can see my scores. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to focus on the one that I played. Right there at the top. And you'll see it at 301. And I'm going to go on this side of the screen here. There's a 20-player contest in there. I play a free entry so I can change my lineup around real fast if necessary. If there's something alternate I'm going to run, I'll have it stored there, and then I can immediately make a swap by importing that lineup onto my other ones. I recommend, no matter how you guys play, you always enter at least one free contest, just to do something similar. Having a placeholder, you'll find, is very nice. So your first step is enter a free contest with the lineup you like. Normally that's great because if you don't have money in your account, you can make a lineup for free. Start with a free contest. From there, I had $20 in entries last night. You'll need to find an appropriate level to play for you. That's the first step of bankroll management. Once you've found your appropriate level, you'll want to play that basically every single night. Whether it's $5, $10, $20, it doesn't really matter. But if you want to be a daily player and play every single day, well then these are your options to do so. And you need to be able to lose and win comfortably. You don't want to take $10, turn it into 20, turn it into 40, and then turn it into 80, and then turn it into 160, and then lose all 160 the next day. Smart bankroll management might have lowered your wins somewhat from doubling up every day, but you wouldn't have you'd still be sitting on a profit in the other direction. This contest spread has 2 quintuple up entries for $4, 6 $2 entries on a double up game, which is called a cash game. I'll explain in a moment. $3 on a shot, and $1 on a mini dribbler, or on the dribbler, single entry. Okay, so this is a GPP contest. What it means is that it only pays the top 20% of people. Same thing with the shot, a GPP contest. However, the double up is not. As you can see, it says right on it, the top 11,250 win. This spread was around 26,000 entrants. That's about the top 44% if you do the math. So landing in the top 44% versus the top 18% is a lot easier. This is why we call it a cash game, and this is why the return is lower. Let's verify that's how it works. I got 301, not enough, but what was enough to win? You needed 319.7 to win, and you got a nice split of $3.14 or something. So 319.8 would have guaranteed it. Very high score for last night. It was a very big spread. And people aren't going to know this for this video because it's going to be watched weeks later, but irrespective of that. So you needed 319.7 to win. That means what I'm telling you is that all the GPP contests will have a higher score to win. Let's see if that's true. Remember, you needed a 319.7 on that cash game. Here, you need 322.6. Yeah, a 3-point difference. And you might not think it's a lot, but it adds up over all the games over time. These differences are key. The shot, you need 324.2. Notice how a single entry game, which is what I advocate you play, had a lower cashing line than a multi-entry game. Multi-entry needed 324.2, so now you're at 4.5 points above the line on a GPP. On the cash line, that is. The quintuple, the best paying one of all, because it's 5 times your money for the top 18%. But what did you need? You needed 333.7, a full 14 points above the cashing line for a double up. And let's not discount that a 50-50 game, which literally pays the top half of all people. If you enter a 100 entry contest 50-50, 50 people will be paid, 50 won't. And if you're number 50, you still get $1.80 for your dollar if you played a $1 contest. It's an 80% return. I don't know any bank that pays that. So this is how you should play to maximize your wins. Always, 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 if you're running a cash lineup, within your bankroll management, 60% of your entries, minimum, need to be cash games. The rest of it can be spread GPP, and honestly, I prefer a spread of 70 to 80%. But if you're going to play that way, then I understand what you're doing. So now I'm going to move into today's lineup, and then I'm going to also, that I'm running for today, this will still be old, but I'm going to show you how to bet. I have a $26 balance, and I lost yesterday, which means that today, because I want to handle 3 days in a row before I have to handle another deposit, if that comes to fruition, I'm probably going to pay about $13 today, about half of my balance, to make sure that the other 13 is stashed and saved away. I need to make sure at least 60% of that money is bet on cash games, which means a minimum of $8 in cash games and $5 in GPPs, or a spread of 9 to 5 or something like, or 9 to 4, something different. So let's see how we can work that out. We're going to go into the lobby. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to multipliers. We see a nice big double up. Let's go ahead and enter this contest. If you can't see my balance at the bottom, it's $26. We're going to enter this entry once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. That's $8 of entries right there in the double up. Now I protected myself in cash. That means for my $13 tonight that I'm going to play, because I put 8 in, I'm going to play 5 more, I'll win at least 16 if the double up comes to fruition. So $16 back, and there's $13 balance, that'll leave me at 29 for the day instead of 26. So if my cash turns out great, wonderful. Now I can play another one here, and I can do like a closer to 75-80% spread. And I guarantee myself even more money if cash hits. This is all a matter of risk tolerance. But no matter what you do, more than half your entries need to be cash. At least guarantee yourself a small win if cash hits. There is no better way to win over time. Otherwise, you'll be making deposits every 2 or 3 days. You don't want to double up after you win. Always bankroll manage. Always bet a smart, safe, sane amount. Now let me show you guys how I take my cash lineup and turn it into even more money than a double. What I'll do here is I'll now enter 1 entry into the quintuple up. Now it does have a higher cashing line, but when it does hit, it pays 5 times your money. So now I'll get $10 if that happens to hit. 29 if just the cash hits. But if it lands into GPP range, I'm now at $39 on my new balance from a start of 26. That's a $13 win for a $13 bet. We're at double our money, and we haven't even played the other $3 I was talking about yet. The balance is still 16. What else can we play with? Should we do another quintuple? It's got a great return. Maybe we should play a single entry. Notice when I told you that the single entries have lower cashing lines. Also, if you play a mini dribbler instead of a single entry big one, and this applies on DraftKings too, they have smaller contest fields than bigger ones, and they're still single entry. You have even better odds of winning. Now you're not going to win a 1,000 if you don't at the very top. The top of mini dribbler pays is like 25 bucks. But you'd be surprised how often you can take down a mini dribbler and you'll still land number 100 in the big one. Minis serve a great purpose. It's a high return for a GPP, and it's single entry. Don't forget them, guys. Single entry dribbler entered. I now have $2 left to play with today. So what should I do? I can enter 1 more dribbler and kind of go mini dribbler, and I can enter the single entry, or I can do another quadruple. This also comes down to risk tolerance and how well you think your lineup's going to pay. As you can see, you'll win $2,000 right at the top. Everyone looks at that. What they don't show you is what it pays at the bottom. There are 35,000 entries. 3,529 is 10%. 7,000 entries or so is 20%. You need to land within the top 20% to get paid double your money. Why wouldn't you do an entry that pays you in the top 44% for double your money? Because really, you got to land the top 8% just to get a triple. To get a quintuple, which I did at the top 18, 590. The top 2%, maybe the top 1.5%. It should be really clear to you guys, bankroll management, always bet the same amount each day and make sure most of your entries are in cash when you do your lineup spread. I will show you my lineup spread when I'm done. Today, just for the heck of it, I think that what we'll do is we'll do one more quintuple. I like doing quintuples because they're solid and fair, and I don't mind not playing a GPP in a day. I want to prove to everyone that you don't need to play a GPP in order to keep winning money and building your bankroll balance. So, let's head over to multipliers, and let's enter it one more time. Okay, and that's going to be today's lineup spread. Now I'll go through this with you guys real fast. I've entered one mini dribbler, okay, for $1. I have my free entry ready to pivot or move around, along with some other free entries on the side you can see. And those are in case something else happens. I can move any of those lineups in real fast. I have more than one free contest running. But in terms of paid entries for today, and this will be verified if you watch the video for this date as well, you will see my entries on the normal lineups that I'm giving to people for today. 2 times 4 for double up, $8. 2 times 4 for quintuples, those are GPP for $4 more. And $1 on a single entry dribbler. $13 in total wagers today. It says 17 at the very top, but that doesn't apply. There's a free $4 NHL entry today, so we can subtract that out. There's $13 in bets on the NBA. 8 of it, 8, and you can do your math on that. 1.3 times 6 for 60% is 7.8. At least $8 minimum needs to be in cash to be above the 60% line. $8 is in a cash game. $2 on a quintuple times 2 for 4 for 12, and 1 on a single entry dribbler. This will pay $2.50 if it hits the minimum cashing line. This will pay $20 if it hits the minimum cashing line. So $22.50 for my GPPs if they hit, but if it's just my cash night, I get $16 back. $16 on a $13 wager, that's a $3 profit. If my GPPs happen to hit, you can add 16 plus $22.50, and it's $38.50 in potential winnings, round up to 39, on $13. Triple your money. This is an effective way to make sure you can win on a cash game and still kind of play GPP lines and go for a big, huge hit if you need to. And if you were going to do that, you already saw the best way. Just take out one of these quintuples and play the GPP that has a large prize at the end. Okay, that's it for bankroll management, effective. So remember that, guys, no matter what you do, put in your amount for 3 days worth of play. You know, when you first start playing, if you're going to put in $30, play for $10 a day. If you lose 3 straight days in a row, you haven't put a deposit in for 3 days, and you're going to be really happy about that. And if you win, which is kind of likely across a 3-day spread, you're going to be going a lot longer before you make a deposit. And you probably will get to the point where I am, where you start taking checks out of Fanduel instead. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this special edition video from Fantasy Forecast on entering lineups properly and bankroll management and contest spreads. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Going out there and go win some big money.